Hey everybody, welcome to episode 64 of the Joys of Games podcast. I am one of your hosts, Josh Brown. This is Thursday evening, September 21st, 2017. That's right, we're almost through September, believe it or not. My co-host, Colin Wheeler, he doesn't believe it. He still thinks it's August. Hi, Colin.
Yeah, it is August.
I mean...
And, no one's ever said otherwise, so...
We literally just said otherwise.
No.
Otherwise.
Fake news.
We have additional voices on this podcast. This week is the Etc. week. We promised that we would do something fun. We had no idea what we were going to do. We didn't really know what we were going to do until this afternoon when plans got settled, because that's how we roll around here. This week we are going to be talking about kind of like a 3/4 of the way year complete wrap up of what's happened in the world of gaming through 2017 thus far, and what we're still looking forward to as we head into the fall season and eventually holiday season in regards to games. So joining us tonight, Colin, I'm going to let you introduce the guest because you brought him on. And you know him far better than I do, so I'm going to let you do the honors here.
Yeah, I wanted to welcome my good friends Guillaume and Linnea.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hi. What kind of gamers are you? Tell us about yourselves.
You want to go first?
Sure. I will play basically anything that doesn't require too much skill. I like PC games, and I play like Xbox games and stuff too, but I'm always hesitant to try new games, but I'm starting to try to branch out a little bit.
Nice.
In the past couple of years, I usually played console and everything. I was a really big like Destiny 1 fan and stuff like that. But this past year, I upgraded my PC a little bit. I've definitely gotten a lot more into PC gaming. Definitely big fan of Destiny 2 right now, and gigantic fan of Dota 2. It's basically sucked my life away.
This will be the only episode in the history of the show, I guarantee, that we will ever talk highly and positively about Dota 2.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
But
And it probably won't all be positive either.
No.
When I say we, I mean pretty much just you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll talk negatively about it. He can talk positively. I'll bring him down.
Dota 2, huh?
It is an amazingly and terrible game.
That's pretty much what I've heard from everybody. It's a game you love to hate.
Toxic, fun game.
Yeah.
What does it do for you? Like, where are the hooks in regards to you? Like, what brought you in and makes you come back on a regular basis?
I think there's a really high skill cap to it. So basically, you constantly want to get better and better and better at it. And there's such a wide variety to it because there's like, I think there's 113 heroes in the game. And there's just so many items. There's so many different ways to play the game.
And there's so many different ways to play each hero, too.
Exactly. And so pretty much every game you play is different, even though it's always on the same map, and like the flow kind of seems the same, but it's not really at all.
Yeah, and like the heroes are constantly changed. Like they're, what is it? Like when they change, they get updated.
There's constant balance patches to the game. Like every couple of months, they're constantly changing the balance patches to the heroes, changing their abilities somehow, adding new items, changing items, the way they work, stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's like you have to keep up with that and know, like, well, this hero's not going to work well right now, so I need to do this.
Exactly. Like
this guy instead.
I looked at my Steam index, and this is kind of embarrassing, but the amount of time that I've played the game is 1,600 hours.
Wow. 113 characters?
It's something like, it's over 110, I know that.
I played about a solid
and they're all free.
7 different heroes.
The entire game is free.
Yeah, that's true too. You only can spend money on stupid stuff.
Just hats.
Hats.
How much money have you spent on stupid stuff?
Probably close to $100.
That's not bad. That's way less than I thought.
Yeah.
I've spent 0.
I've spent more on Destiny than I have on Dota.
That's
fair.
fair.
I mean, that's easy.
Although you have spent roughly 67 days of your life playing Dota 2.
Yep.
So that's something.
That's a nice thing to think about.
Yeah. 67
and my
days of
route
your
of
existence.
Dota, I started playing Dota back when we lived in Oregon still, and I just thought it was like a fun game. And we'd play together, and then we would argue about it, and so we stopped playing together. And now my goal is to play enough to get good enough where he's like, okay, fine, you can play again.
Are you up to the 1600 mark yet?
No, I don't know what I'm at, but it's nowhere near that.
Me and one of my closest friends pretty much exclusively play together, and we've played like 900 games together.
Wow. Colin, thank you for not being involved with Dota 2.
I played a couple times with them. I have no idea what's going on. And it's basically them holding my hand the entire time, saying, buy this, do this, do this. I'm like, okay, I don't even know where my character is, but sure, I'll do that.
Yum tried.
It's a constant struggle just to find my character. I'm like, where am I on this map? I don't know where I am.
It's hard.
Dota 2. Well, that concludes our Dota 2 segment for the night.
For the rest of the podcast, probably.
We got it out of the way.
Yeah. Got through that. Everybody's still alive and kicking, and hopefully we still have an audience after that. But, we'll move on. Colin, what did you want to do here tonight? This was kind of your idea, so I'm going to kind of hand the reins over to you and let you steer the ship.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of holiday games coming out pretty soon here, so I kind of wanted to recap basically all of our favorite games that we've liked so far this year up until this point. And then just kind of go into games that we plan on picking up or games that we plan on playing towards basically the end of the year. So first of all, I want to go with Josh. What is your favorite? Let's do top 3 favorite games this year.
So far?
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7.
And why?
Because it was amazing, Colin.
That's not good enough.
Honestly, because playing through it the first time in VR, the complete game, start to finish, was one of the most intense and exhilarating experiences in gaming that I've ever had. And that's something that I had not had with PSVR and have not had since. I went through and played the game 3 more times after that, not in VR, and it was still fun. I enjoyed running through it and doing different things and playing differently. But the very first time playing through that game, because they were so tight-lipped about the story ahead of time, it didn't ever feel like it was a Resident Evil game until the end. There was this shroud of mystery going into it, plus being in VR, plus being in first person, which was unusual for a Resident Evil game. It was just so intense that I will never forget the feelings I had while playing through that and how scared I was at certain points and like shaking and sweating and probably yelling much louder than I should have been because of headphones and not being aware of my surroundings. But yeah, it's an experience in gaming that I will definitely never forget.
I will say, like, when they announced it at E3, it was the year prior, and then it just, like, got released in January.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like it just dropped out of nowhere. And at that point, people had no expectations or had no idea really what the game was. And to see it review so well and people be so positive about it, it's actually, I think that's amazing, especially considering Capcom's track record lately with their releases. It's good to hear that their soft reboot, I guess, in a way, was successful.
Yeah.
Now, is that still pretty much the only AAA game for PSVR?
I mean, yes, probably. Like other games will probably try to claim that they're AAA, but no. I mean, like that's the biggest AAA, like full-on game that that I would qualify under that for PSVR. And the best part is it's a PSVR game, but it's also not if you don't want to play it in VR. And it's the exact same game either way. So you're not, losing out on the experience or you're not losing out on anything if you don't play it in VR, if you don't have a PSVR, or vice versa. Like if you choose not to play it regular and you only play it VR, you're not getting like a shortened version, an abbreviated version for the sake of being in VR. It's the exact same experience either way. Obviously the VR just adds to the intensity of it, but yeah, no other game has come close to replicating what that did in VR.
I'm really hoping that Golem game that's being done by Highwire Games, the Expungy people, where Marty O'Donnell went and a bunch of other people went. Mm-hmm. I'm really hoping that's going to be a really good AAA, like basically not a system seller, but I guess a headset seller.
Right.
Because PSVR is, out of all the VR headsets I've tried, it's the most comfortable. It's the easiest to set up and use. Mm-hmm. But there's just the software is kind of lacking still.
Sure.
Because, I mean, I went over there and did, when we did Extra Life last year, I basically did all of the main experiences. And Resident Evil wasn't out there at the time, but I did all, like, the main experiences with you in an evening. And I was like, this is great, but what's next?
Yep.
Type of thing. So.
Isn't the resolution significantly lower than the other headsets, too?
It is, yeah. The processing power on the PS4 is just not as good as a PC, obviously.
Yeah.
From my understanding, the Pro does improve it slightly, but it's like, I want to say, just looking at the screen, it's probably like 480p. Like, it's not even like straight up high def.
I mean,
but that close to your face, I mean, it
exactly.
looks a little jaggy, but it doesn't look like bad necessarily.
Right.
It doesn't affect the experience too much.
No, yeah, not at all. And like I said, it is the most comfortable. So like for people that have issues with motion sickness, having a tight headset on their head on top of having motion sickness, I think makes it difficult. So PSVR kind of alleviates that a little bit.
I mean, if you were to switch it back and forth between that and like the Vive or the Oculus, like you're going to notice like the lesser quality, but like if you only have like the one headset, like it's not a big thing. Plus, not everybody has PCs capable of running the other headsets at the top quality performance that you would want from them anyway. So it's the cheaper option and the most cost friendly option out there, and it does its job. It's not. You don't ever look at it and think, "Wow, this is really bad. I should not be putting this on my head." Like, it's good. It's serviceable. It's unless you're comparing them directly, you're not going to tell the difference too much.
Well, isn't the headset itself significantly cheaper also?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like on sale for $300 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
And the Oculus is like $600. So.
Yep. And the Vive is $800.
Yeah, $800. So I mean, you can find sales, but like that's pretty good. Yeah. Considering.
My second game, Colin, which I really don't think we need to talk about too much because it's pretty self-explanatory. Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Ah, you stole mine.
Game's garbage.
and that's why. I mean, like everybody's probably gonna like say the same thing with that one. I mean, what else can you say? It's pretty phenomenal. Yeah, I'll let somebody else talk about that. And then my third game, it's kind of tough. Colin. I want to say Knack 2. I really want to.
I bet you do.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and I don't know if it's just because it's fresh in my mind right now. But Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle was so good.
I've heard nothing but amazing things about this game.
It's so much better than it has any right to be. And I don't usually play strategy games. So like I was busting into a new genre for myself by playing that. And I was intimidated, but it holds your hand in just the right amount to where you feel like you're learning, but not ever overwhelmed by anything. It has an easy mode. Like every battle that you go into, you could click on a button to go into easy mode for that battle. And it basically just gives you like twice the amount of health and reduces the amount of health that the enemies have. And it makes it easier to win the battles. But the best part about it is you're not penalized at all for going into that mode. like you still at the end of it get the same amount of coins and XP orbs that you would if you would won it regularly. So if you want to challenge yourself, you just play through it normally. But like if you're like, man, this is gonna suck, I would just want to run through this as quick as possible. You hit the easy button and you can play through it, and you don't get penalized for doing that. But it's Rabbids and it's Mario and it's weird and it's funny and creative and so well thought out. And I also saw Despicable Me 3 over this last weekend, and I realized how much I hate the Minions. And everybody makes fun of the Rabbids, but I would have the Rabbids over the Minions like 1,000 times over. Sure, they're annoying little characters, but in the grand scheme of things, they're still pretty funny. They're still pretty hilarious. Minions are just awful little creatures. So
have you ever seen the Rabbids TV show that they have in France?
Yes, it's wild.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
like for like a kids show, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, they have good writing team for the Rabbids, but yeah, like that has been like my surprise hit. You know, like ARMS was fun, Splatoon 2 was fun, and I expected good things from all of those, but Mario and Rabbids, I, as well as the entire gaming community, I feel like did not expect anything from that game, and it has been so much fun. So
how far have you gotten in it?
Oh, I beat it. I'm done.
You beat it?
Yeah.
Because I guess the one negative thing that I've heard is that I think it's after like the first or second world that the game can get kind of stale.
Yes and no. They keep introducing different types of enemies that do different things. There's only 4 worlds in it.
Okay.
And each world has 10 levels. So the third world is the ghost world. So they introduce like different characters that have the ability to evaporate and reappear on the map elsewhere. And like they introduce boos onto the map, which they are basically just obstacles that'll come through and like chase your character around and move you to different positions of the map without you having to say so in the matter. So they constantly, even into up until like the final battle, they are still introducing different types of enemies and different variations of different enemies to kind of suit what world you're in. So, I mean, if you're playing it straight through, like the battles are going to feel similar one after another.
Mm-hmm.
But I was playing it in like half hour, 45 minute chunks. So I'd play like a battle or two and then do something else, and then pick it up and play it again. So I never felt that fatigue of just running through over and over again and kind of doing the same repetitive thing.
How long did it take you to beat?
Total, I think I clocked like 25 hours or so, something like that.
That took a good amount of time.
Yeah.
I have a very important question for you, Josh.
Yes.
Very important. Is my girl Toadette in this game?
As a NPC. But she's along with Captain Toad.
You know what? I don't want to hear it. I don't
It's a
want
deal
to hear it.
breaker.
I mean, she's in
No
the game.
sale.
She's totally in the game, and there's downloadable content coming. There's DLC, so
Okay.
there's a chance that they could introduce
there's
more
hope.
characters.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's definitely a chance. Yeah, I mean, all the teammates that you could get and all the different wacky weapons and stuff, man, it's so fun, so fun. So that's my 3.
Yeah, I really like it when you go into a game expecting one thing and just being blown away because it's so different than what you expected.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, I feel like a lot of AAA games when they come out, like you were saying, Splatoon and ARMS, you're like, yeah, I know what I expected, and it's exactly what we expected.
Yep.
So it's good to see that is a change of pace.
Yeah.
And who honestly expected a Mario plus Rabbids crossover to actually be good?
I
Right.
really wish that it didn't get leaked.
Developed by
years
Ubisoft.
before.
Like, that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's a Ubisoft game. It's not a Nintendo game.
It's so weird.
It would have been amazing if it was just revealed at E3 and everybody just would have lost their crap. They should have been like, what in the world?
But at the same time, I think like that even makes it better because once it was leaked, nobody knew what it was, but everybody was just groaning. They're like, "Oh, Mario with a gun. Oh, rabbits. You know." So like the hype started from ground zero when it came to that game. There wasn't that initial excitement and buzz. It was like, oh, this is going to be such a horrible game. And they showed it off, and then people start playing. They're like, whoa, wait a second. Like, this is a legit, actual, fun game. So, I see what you're saying about you wish it wasn't leaked, but I think that makes the story of this game's success even more impressive because of that.
So you mentioned Mario having a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Go back.
So this makes me wonder: is Mario being introduced to the Rabbids what made him retire from being a plumber?
I mean, I think he just realized that he's pretty much just too old for this nonsense, you know. And he's like, I need to go back to
really good question.
Delfino Plaza. I need to vacay. You know, I need to hang out in some swim shorts again, show off the Mario nips, and just take it easy. So, yeah. The Rabbids were definitely his downfall of his plumbing career, but probably for the best.
I don't know. I took it away as is like, you know, you get older, you get more conservative, then you just get a bunch of guns because everything's jaded, and you know, sometimes you gotta shoot some rabbits. I don't know.
I think Linnea's a little out of the loop on this. So Nintendo announced like a week or two ago that Mario is no longer a plumber.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right? Am I getting it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought
He's no
pulled
longer a
that question out of
carpenter
nowhere.
either, so
Like, wow, good question.
Yeah.
poor Luigi, man, he's got to pick up all the slack again.
Well, I mean, he is the younger brother, so he still has years to go in his apprenticeship.
Here's the thing: is
Well,
Mario
brothers
didn't even
idiot,
teach him
though.
how to be a plumber. He uses a vacuum. Like, I don't understand. Oh, I can't vacuum the toilet. Oh.
He moonlights as a janitorial assistant.
Poor Luigi, always getting the shaft.
He's really good in that game. He's a sniper. And he also dabs on people, so...
I mean, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So legit.
Yeah.
He's become two memes. Like Mario Kart 8, he was the glaring meme.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
He's a meme machine.
So there's my list,
Now
Colin.
they just need to make amiibos of these poses.
Oh, dude, I'd buy him. I'd pre-order that day one. Dabbing Luigi? Heck yes. Get one in every room at my house.
Hang
All
on.
right, Linnea, what's your favorite games this year?
I had to think about this one because I've spent the past few months playing games I always wanted to play when I was little, but I couldn't because my brother hogged our N64. So I've just been playing like older games. But if I had to pick ones from this year, I'm going to have to go with Breath of the Wild, of course. Although I think the ending for me for that one was incredibly disappointing. I feel like I've talked to you about this, Colin. Like, I felt like I could have gone to the ending way sooner than I did. I was, I played through the whole. I didn't do the full completion part where you collect everything, but I did everything that I needed to, and I worked really hard, and then I went, and the final boss was just kind of a joke, and that was kind of a disappointment, but it didn't take away anything from the whole game because it was a beautiful game.
Like, mechanically though, but did you like the assortment of different items and stuff, or do you like more so like the traditional Zelda games where you basically get the items and keep them forever type of thing?
So that's funny because I've never played any other Zelda game because I always watched my brother play them growing up, but the N64 was his, so I just watched him play, and that's what I've been playing. Twilight Princess right now. That's my game right now, but I like the idea. I was talking to Guillaume about this too. I like the idea of them being so different because, like, I'm playing Twilight Princess right now, and you get to hold on to your weapon unless it burns and it's wood. But but you get to hold on to your weapon. But I really like Breath of the Wild. I mean, Breath of the Wild is the first Zelda game that I've actually played, and it was really interesting to start with that one because it is a huge challenge because you have to be careful with your stuff. But so I really like that mechanically. I can't compare the two at all right now because like I said, I haven't even finished another Zelda game.
That mechanic was just so shocking the first time I actually played that game, like realizing that my weapon could actually break.
But I love that concept in such an open world game. Like, it makes it so much more difficult. And one thing I've noticed between the one I'm playing now and that one is it's a lot less obvious what you're supposed to do in a way. That if you don't like what you're doing at that moment in Breath of the Wild, you can just go do something else. Mm-hmm. But there's just so much more that you have to remember.
I like the way they did the way they went through with the mechanic is because you always had plenty of weapons. Like if they made weapons hard to get, then otherwise that mechanic would have been so frustrating to use.
Yeah, I think Breath of the Wild is my favorite open world game of all time, and I think it is the most open world game I've ever played, because you can play games like Skyrim, you can play games like Grand Theft Auto, and you can explore this giant like map and environment, but you can't climb everything, you can't get on top of everything. But in Zelda, you can literally go anywhere. You're like, I'm going to go on top of this mountain. I'm not restricted by these weird barriers, these invisible barriers that are not allowing me to go up.
Exactly. And one thing, this is like such a small mechanic about that game, but the map, when you look at the map at the beginning of the game, you have no idea how far it's going to go. I feel like they didn't let you know at all how far it was going to go. So I'd climb to the top of a tower thinking I had them all, and then I'd look off to the side and I'm like, wow, there's another tower I haven't climbed. That's a whole nother part of this game I haven't even been to. I mean, it was just a huge game, and it was amazing. And it's such a pretty game too.
Yeah, and the gameplay loop of like when you do climb up to the top, and there's usually something valuable up there, whether it's loot, whether it's a Korok, whether it's your shrine.
Seeds.
Yeah, but like jumping off and just paragliding off into the distance is satisfying every single time. It's so awesome.
And one thing too that I kind of liked but also hated was that I don't know if this is true of all of the enemies, and I can't remember the ones that are the centaurs, but those get harder and harder as you go. Like, don't they, like, once you go farther, and then you can't go back and get certain parts for, like, armor upgrades and stuff, or outfit upgrades, because what are they called?
The Lionels.
Yeah. They get harder and harder every time.
I hate those guys.
Yeah, me too.
They're so fun. They're like the only challenging bad guys in the game.
That seems like, I guess... I haven't played much of Breath of the Wild because Lene ended up playing it.
Yeah.
And I
took it over.
Played other games. But it seems like, yeah.
Shh, we're done with that.
That's why I didn't say anything. But it seems like, I guess the biggest disappointment is that the game wasn't that difficult, is what I've heard.
It could have been, like...
It wasn't as difficult as other Zelda games, because one of my favorite things about Zelda games growing up was that they were always such a challenge. And all the puzzles and everything to it.
I feel like this one, like I said, I can't compare it to anything, but I felt like it was pretty challenging. I wish that maybe I would have tried to do the boss first without doing all of those, what are they called? Those stupid...
Shrines.
No, not the shrines, the
animals.
The things that you have to climb up inside and solve the puzzle, the beasts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
The divine beast, yeah. That felt like it totally... Those were harder than the final boss, I feel like, for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people played... Obviously, they played differently, and you could kind of play however you wanted to play. Yeah. And the game is telling you to do these divine beasts. But if you were to just go straight up to Ganon, like, you'd have to basically defeat all those divine beast bosses, and then Ganon's two transformations as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's
so you're basically doing the same thing either way. The thing I will say about it not being difficult in the old Zelda games, I don't know if you remember the puzzles, but a lot of the puzzles are super obtuse. Like there's things that just don't really make sense. Versus I feel like in this game, it's a lot of common sense, a lot of like, oh, I wonder if I can do this, and it's like science based. So it's easier in the way that. I think it's just how our brains already work, and that's how they designed it. Versus, in the old Zelda games, it's like you can blow up a wall, but where on the wall can you blow up? I don't know. Shoot this eyeball with an arrow. Grab a box and put it on a switch. It's just like weird things that just, over time they reuse the mechanics over and over again to other Zelda games. But I feel like Breath of the Wild just kind of did away with that, and it's like having the shrines and having just weird little mechanics that are like science based. I actually thought was.
I love the shrine puzzles.
A lot more fun. Like the game was just genuinely more fun than the old Zelda games. So,
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the hardest. You're talking about like how most people say it's not difficult. I think the hardest part of the game is starting it. Like the first 2 hours in that game it's incredibly frustrating because you're trying to figure out what the game expects of you as a player and what you're allowed to do and what you should do and what you shouldn't do, and like the whole weapon thing, and you have like no gear and you're freezing, like dealing with the elements, and the game just kind of throws you in there. It's like, here, figure it out. So like those first couple hours in that game is excruciating. Like, it's so frustrating. But once you start to figure out that you could play the game how you want, that difficulty level just drops significantly because, like you guys are saying, if something's too hard or you don't want to do something, you just leave and go do something else.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's getting past that initial hump. That's where the difficulty is. And then everything else is, it could be as difficult or as easy as you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that element of it where it's like, wow, I really don't feel like fighting right now. I'm just going to go run around and, like, sightsee. Mm-hmm. There's so many different things you can do in that game. I could talk about that game forever.
Do you guys think that this is the best Zelda game ever made?
Easily.
Yeah. I mean, Majora's Mask is a very, very, very close second for me.
Traitor.
But Breath of the Wild is the best.
A Link to the Past for me was up until this, and this just feels like it's everything probably that they wanted to do with A Link to the Past back then that you're able to do now.
Didn't they say that was an inspiration to this game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought it was the original Zelda was the inspiration.
Was it?
Because they remember they did a weird like prototype where they actually modded over the original Zelda map, and they added like the fire physics and everything like that.
I think that was just for fun, just for running through the map easily.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, I mean, Link to the Past is, a grander version of the original Zelda.
It is.
So, I mean...
Yeah.
But this just feels like this is how they've always envisioned the franchise being. They just were never able to do it, and finally they had the technology and the tools and the time to make it happen, and like this is the benchmark for Zelda games going forward.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what they do next. I really want them to do a Majora's Mask style game with this game engine, because I want another Zelda like this, but like just super wacky and weird.
Mm-hmm.
So
that'd be really neat.
So what else? What else do you like, Linnea?
All right, so the next two are ones that came out in past years, but they kind of... So Stardew Valley is one of them. I know it came out last year, but then I think it was the collector's edition or something. I'd never heard of it until this year, because the collector's edition or something like that came out this year. But so even though it was a last year game, I'm going to have to say Stardew Valley is one that I absolutely love. I haven't played it in a little while because I kind of burnt myself out on it. You can only do so much Stardew.
Yeah.
But that game, have both of you guys played that game?
I played it on the computer for a little bit. I'm really waiting for the Switch version to come out because it just seems like a perfect handheld game that I can just go and water my crops and deal with animals and stuff like that, on the go.
Yeah, I'm afraid to. It's one of those addictive games that.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I'm.
It sucks your time away.
Yeah, I want it to be on the Switch. I'm excited for it on the Switch, but that's also frightening as well. So. Yeah.
Did you guys play Harvest Moon at all?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of Animal Crossing, no Harvest Moon for me.
Yeah,
because I've heard a lot of similarities between Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley.
Mm-hmm. I see it.
That's a good game. The music is fun. I like those I really like those kind of mindless games. Those are probably all the kind of games on my top list. But where you can kind of just do whatever you want. There's you don't have to think too hard. But that game is just kind of fun. The graphics are fun. It makes me feel kind of like a kid again when I'm playing it with the music and the graphics and everything. You can't really talk too much about Stardew Valley. It's kind of, you look at it and you know what you're supposed to do. But it's a fun one for sure. And then my other one is Cities Skylines, which I know also is an older one. It came out in 2015. But I think it just came out on the PS4 recently. But I think people are kind of starting to play it a little bit more now. But I haven't really tried any new ones because, like I said, I've been playing Banjo-Kazooie and the old Zelda games. But Cities Skylines is a really fun one because I really like Sims games, and so I was playing SimCity for a while. But Cities Skylines is really neat because there's so much more that goes into it. There's so much more that you have to think about. It's a much more difficult game. There's a lot more things you can do in the game.
It's the SimCity that we wanted when the reboot of SimCity was announced.
Yeah.
So what makes it so much better than SimCity? Like, what makes it? Because you're saying they added a lot more stuff. What is that exactly?
Yeah, so I haven't played Sims. To be fair, I haven't played SimCity for probably a year and a half, so I don't know maybe a year. I don't know what they've added in, but just going last year from SimCity to Skylines, Skylines you have to keep track of all of the utilities like power and water and stuff. You actually have to connect it and make sure everybody has it. Not just that there's enough, because in SimCity you just plop down the utility thing and then suddenly everybody has it. You don't have to do power lines, you don't have to do plumbing lines, you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to direct which way traffic goes. You don't have to worry about different neighborhoods. You can actually make neighborhoods in Skylines. You have to deal with, basically it's more of like the infrastructure of the city rather than, and I kind of start games and then forget to play and then start cities over again. So I haven't gone too far into the game, but it's much more challenging to get your city going, which I really like, because in SimCity you start it so fast that it's really easy and then you're bored all of a sudden. Because I started my city so fast, what the heck am I supposed to do now? It's much harder to get it started in Skylines, which is something that I really like because you don't get bored. It's a challenge from the beginning.
Also, and from what I remember when SimCity was rebooted and stuff, probably the most frustrating thing about that game is that you couldn't expand your city size at all. Like, you have one city, and then you can make another city that's brand new, but it's connected to the other city. So they kind of share resources and stuff, but they're still not the same city.
You can't expand.
That's super weird.
Yeah.
But in City Skylines, you can actually expand your city and have, like, a gigantic city.
Mm-hmm.
So, a couple questions. If you abandon your city and then you come back, like, months later, is it like Animal Crossing where everything's dead and everyone's mad at you?
No.
Oh, man. Or like I always compare it to the Tamagotchi. It's like, where's that Tamagotchi? Oh, he's dead. All right. Well.
No.
Also, can you destroy everything? Like, can you do traffic going both ways to cause destruction?
That would be amazing.
so.
That reminds me of when we were in court, when we lived down in Portland or Oregon. Guillaume got me Roller Coaster Tycoon, the old one where you can delete part of the roller coaster and they just go flying off of it. That'd be really fun if you could do that in Skylines.
That was one of my favorite things in The Sims is build a room, have a door, have them go in, delete the door, and just watch them squirm.
I'm going to be talking about Sims later because it's coming out on the Xbox, which I'm super excited about. But
Also, I'm not a serial killer. I just like watching Sims suffer.
my mom made us stop playing for a while when we were little because she'd come in and we'd be drowning our Sims, lighting them on fire.
It makes me really excited. What you talking about that game makes me really excited for that Jurassic Park Park Sim game that's coming out.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah. So imagine Zoo Tycoon, but Jurassic Park.
Jurassic World, Colin.
Oh, my
That's
bad.
Amazing. The old Zoo Tycoons where you could also build like crappy fences around the dinosaurs and then they'd break through and like rush into the crowds.
Yep, that's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be great.
Oh, that's exciting. When is that one coming out?
Next year sometime. I'm assuming right before the Jurassic World sequel comes out.
Yep.
Right, Colin, what have been your favorite games?
Breath of the Wild. We didn't really talk about that again, but that's definitely...
No, let's revisit that.
Let's
Breath of
the Wild.
Made by Nintendo, released in March.
Who's the main character?
Zelda.
Okay.
No, Link. Zelda's the guy, right? Okay.
Zelda's the guy.
It's got to be Destiny 2, man. It's on the mind. It's my new addiction. I can't stop playing that game. It's improved upon everything in Destiny 1 and more. The only thing I haven't done is the raid yet, which Guillaume, you can talk about that a little bit more. But it's it's interesting because when they announced it, I wasn't super like I was excited and I was like I'm gonna pick it up because it's a new Bungie game and I love Destiny 1, but it didn't really look that much different. But playing it, it's like the little things that make it just so significantly better than the first game. The way the loot drop goes, the way there's actually a story this time, the way that there's characters that I actually care about and actually know the names of versus like these basically talking heads that I get stuff from and run away and never talk to about anything else. And then just the way that the community is set up with the clans and the way that it's just a lot more accessible overall. I'm just addicted to that game. It's just so good. So dang good. Yeah, Guillaume, you can talk about it a little bit more?
They've just improved a lot of these, just a lot of the systems. There's not like 6 different currencies like there were in Destiny 1. You don't have to do all this stupid farming like you used to. Just a lot of these little improvements. Like when you beat the game, you actually get to level 20, even if you're not like even close. Like say you're level 17 and you beat the game, they'll automatically make you level 20, so you don't have to just grind for that for no reason.
What's important about level 20?
Once you hit level 20 is when you can start getting power level, which is how you advance to the getting access to the raid and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah,
end game content.
All the end game stuff, yeah. So it's nice because it basically pushes you right to level 20, so then you can hop right in and do all the other stuff versus like having to do a bunch of these like side quests that you don't want to deal with just to level your character up.
Okay.
And also just the raid, the very start of the raid up until the very end is just phenomenal. It's definitely one of my favorite raids to date. I haven't beaten it yet, as Colin knows, because we tried beating the final boss, and the final boss's mechanics are just awful. It's frustrating, stupid, and pretty much everyone that I've read online basically has the same opinion: is that the final boss fight is not fun. There's a lot of RNG factors into it, and it's just poorly designed. But the rest of it is
better.
Yeah, exactly.
Get good.
Get good.
Like one of the mechanics in it is you're literally doing like a relay race with everyone, and it's just so fun. There's like a maze puzzle to it, and then in between each sequence there's like a mini horde mode to it. So they've just added a lot of these.
Say horror mode?
Horde.
Oh, okay.
It's like an endless wave of enemies constantly coming at you that you have to kill.
My Destiny knowledge is 0.
We did just get another Xbox, so she'll probably end up trying it soon.
So the raid, from what I've read and from what I've watched, it's a lot more mechanic heavy. They're like puzzles you have to solve. There's certain platforming you have to accomplish, and then also just the excellent shooting that Destiny 1 had. It carries over Destiny 2. I mean, Bungie is the king of shooters in my opinion. It excites me to jump in the raid and do it myself. Just because the other raids were very much like, go into this room and kill these people, and you got to survive, and maybe there's like one puzzle on the side. Go into the next room, kill these people, versus this one's very much like, the puzzle is kind of the important part, and then the enemies are like kind of the side part of it, which is totally different than what they've done in the past.
Who wants to just stand there and shoot something? That's not fun.
I mean...
So much easier.
But yeah, I'm still grinding through that game. I got my power level to 280.
Holy cow!
So once I get to 290, I'm going to start all over again with another character. So that's how much I'm loving this game.
Now, Josh, have you played Destiny at all?
I am like 2 hours into it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just talking to Colin before we started recording that I don't know where to go now. Like, I'm to the point where it's not really telling me what I need to do, and the lack of direction, whereas I appreciated it in a game like Zelda Breath of the Wild, completely intimidates me in Destiny 2. I played soccer by myself for a few minutes. That was fun. I was really hoping to pop some sort of trophy for that, but alas, I did not. And I played the Crucible for a couple matches because some big dude told me I needed to, and I got my teeth kicked in because everybody's really good and really powerful. And now I don't apparently I have to go to my map, and then it's going to tell me where I have to go and whatnot, but it's not very direct as far as telling you what you should be doing next. So yeah, I got my light back, and I'm ready to advance. I just need to find out how to do that.
You got to go talk to the guy that's going to give you some tea. The British guy that's totally not a fake British accent at all.
Are you playing with anyone, or are you playing by yourself?
No, I'm playing by myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely think that Destiny is one of those games that is just so much more enjoyable when you play with friends.
Yeah, he doesn't play by himself very often.
I hardly do. I did a little bit when it first came out, but I haven't the past couple days.
I feel like the campaign you can play by yourself and have a pretty good time. But anything beyond that, like the public events,
yeah,
and Crucible, definitely. Oh my gosh, Crucible's horrible by yourself.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, as you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so much better with friends. Like I was telling Colin right before it came out, like I hadn't been this excited for a game to come out since the Master Chief Collection, which obviously was a giant flop.
Well, the campaigns were great. Still, they were still great.
Yeah.
Like when Colin and I played Destiny 1 a couple years ago, it was just so much fun staying up late doing those raids. And when Colin got the magical Gallahorn that first time, it was one of the greatest moments I've ever heard.
I screamed like just the highest pitched scream ever. Like I won $1 million. That's how I felt too.
Yeah, I'm just not
they nerfed it.
good at playing games with people. I play at weird hours, and the commitment of playing a game with somebody else where they're relying on me to be there and continue playing gives me so much anxiety that I tend not to. Like, if I want to be done with a game, I want to be able to just turn it off right then and there and go doing something else. And I always have that guilt associated when I'm trying to play with somebody else. Like, hey, Colin, you want to play this game? It's like, cool. I could only guarantee that I'll be around until I'm done. You know, like, I don't want other people... Yeah, I don't like other people making plans around playing a game with me and then me being done for whatever reason I may have, and then either feeling like I have to stay or then feel like I'm bailing on them, and that's too much for me. So playing online with people is difficult, but I know Destiny 2 is better with people. I just need to figure out how to make that work for me.
So you feel guilty for being an adult?
Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
Noob.
I know.
I think you can still kind of do that. The only thing I think that you wouldn't be able to do that you would have to put kind of commitment to is the raid, but everything else, like the strikes, you can go into a strike playlist and play with random people and bounce whenever you want. Crucible, you obviously can play with random people, and then when you explore the world and do like public events or do other missions, half the time there's going to be other people playing there with you. So.
Right. When I went back and checked out the soccer match the second time, there were 2 people playing soccer, and I ran down there, and I was like, oh, wait, no, I'm probably interfering with this game that they have going on. So I just walked away all sad. I'm like, oh man, and that's how I feel.
You were such a polite player. Holy cow. I would have been like, give me that thing.
Well, because I was like, well, maybe they're just messing around, but they were clearly going back and forth with a purpose. I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy that just runs up there and steals the soccer ball and starts playing. They have something going on right now. Who am I to just jump in and ruin their fun? So, and that's how I feel, just jumping into random matches or games or events or anything. It's like, it's too much pressure. I don't like it.
I think one thing we did miss about talking about Destiny, Colin, is that they made the game a lot less grindy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty satisfying every single time that you play it because you're always going to get a reward, whether that's a duplicate or not. Even if it's a duplicate, you can basically discard it and get materials and turn that into different vendors to get even different, sometimes better loot. So I feel like it values the player's time way more than the first game.
Mm-hmm, definitely, it gives you that satisfactory feeling of just accomplishing something each time you play.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what video games are supposed to make you feel like. Wow, I accomplished something today.
Yeah. So the last game that I want to talk about is kind of a weird oddball game that I had no what's the word, plans on purchasing or playing for that matter, and that's Nier Automata. This game is super weird and super good. I love hack and slash games like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, and Nier Automata, from like an outside perspective, that's what I thought that game was, but it's just that on a surface level. Like, yes, you do hack and slash stuff, but there's all these crazy other mechanics that are happening and different perspectives that are changing. I mean, it's got like Metroidvania features to it. It's got weird first-person sequences to it. It's got the hack and slash for a lot of it. And then the story is just super, super anime. Like, super, like, makes you think about life and mortality, and is a robot who has artificial intelligence actually worth living for or enslaving, and just got all these crazy thematic themes throughout the game. And when you die in the game, different endings happen. So you replay it 6 or 7 times, and each time you replay it, a different result happens. And I've never played such a weird and unique experience that game has to offer. And yeah, it's beyond that, like, it makes you think. You know, the games, a lot of times when you play them, they don't really make you think. But every time I got a different ending of that game, I was just like, kind of just sitting there, like, thinking about what the game is like trying to portray to me. I'm like, man, video games are supposed to make me think, make me sad, but it did.
Poor Colin and your emotions.
Yeah. real virtual tears, I'm telling you guys. But then the gameplay is awesome, though. Like, it feels really good. It's got RPG elements where you can upgrade your weapons and your attacks, and even like allies that you have with you. So it's like a mixture between RPG and hack and slash and a Metroidvania and a shooter and all these other amazing things. So yeah, Nier Automata.
Nice.
Now, I'm the type of person that only hack and slash game I really like is like Dark Souls. Is it similar at all to that?
No, it is very much like Devil May Cry, more fast paced.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nothing like Dark Souls. No. Nope. Guillaume, what is your favorite games of the year?
That we haven't covered yet.
Yeah.
It's besides Dota 2.
The most recent Dota update. My favorite game.
I know Colin's played it. I don't know about you, Josh. Because do you play on PC at all?
I do not. PCs frighten me.
Frightening? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That's what I used to think, but then I was welcome to the PC masterpiece. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
That's the only reason why I want to play PC games.
This game is so fun.
It's amazing. I hate shooter games.
Yeah. I remember watching people playing it in the beta, and I was like, what is this weird game? Like, what is this blue thing that's killing this guy when he's outside of the zone and stuff like that? Like, it is such a simple concept, being dropped out of a plane and just staying in
the Hunger Games.
Yeah, it's the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And it's just so fun to actually play and play with your friends and stuff like that. There is some annoying parts to it, which are good and bad, which is the proximity voice chat.
That's so funny.
It's funny and it's annoying because people can just be kind of overtly rude and racist and say stupid things.
That's why you kill them.
More satisfying when you kill them.
It is more satisfying. But like I've read stories online about actually no, this was my friend Taylor told me about this, that he and this guy basically ended up, they were playing solo and they dropped out of the plane and they all killed each other and they ended up talking through proximity voice chat and agreed not to kill each other and just go their separate ways. And just like these little kind of like stories and stuff like are just so cool, and so many people have stories about this with PUBG.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd say they decided to work together, but
that's actually against PUBG's terms and conditions.
It is?
Yes.
Oh. That's really funny.
Shoot.
That's kind of lame.
I feel like the cool thing about that game is it is a sandbox, and the games doesn't have a story, so the stories are all told by the players.
Exactly.
And that's kind of how I felt like towards the end of Halo 2 when I played that game to death, and I was just tired of playing it the casual way, and I would try to get like random people to jump in my car, like from the opposite team, to jump in the Warthog and drive around with me and just do stupid stuff. Like that's what I feel like that game is, but like on crack. Like it's just there's so many stupid things you can do in that game, and it's fun every time. Not to mention there's a frying pan that you can grab, and I love trying to kill people with that.
It's a one-hit kill to your teammates. It's happened to me multiple times.
Is that how you died?
This streamer that I follow does he's like a partner with PUBG, and I've just found out that anybody can do this, but he has enough viewers where he can do custom matches and everybody can get into his server, but he'll do only frying pan games all the time. And it's so funny to watch.
It also blocks bullets.
It's like slaps only in GoldenEye.
The best.
But yeah, that game, I've never been a fan of shooter games. I've only played them when people ask me to, and I hate it. But that game, I'm terrible at it, but I love it. It's so fun.
I can't believe how well it's sold still, too, throughout this time, and it's still in early access. It just hit #1 Steam and concurrent users, which was just insane to me. Like, I didn't think anything would actually, like... Sorry to go on this again. Dota, for that, because Dota was #1 in concurrent users, and then PUBG for a very long time. Yeah. And then PUBG just beat it, like, last week.
And people I've seen on Twitter and Twitch, too, people are buying nicer computer parts or, graphic cards or whatever because they want to play this game. That's crazy to me.
I definitely think when this gets to Xbox, it is going to be huge on it.
I'm seeing people that primarily play on PlayStation saying they're going to buy Xboxes to play an early access game. Like,
really?
Straight up buying a whole console just to play it because, some people can't afford PC or some people just don't want to mess with PC, like Josh.
PC controls are hard to get used to when you're used to controller.
Yeah.
It's also interesting to see how it's kind of now sunk its way into games like GTA just basically added a mode that was PUBG.
Yeah, and then, Fortnite as well.
Yeah, Fortnite, that too. Like, these games are copying PUBG right now.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenon.
It's an amazing one. And then my second game would probably be Destiny, which we've already talked about.
Let's talk more about Destiny. What do you like about it?
What do I like about it? I like spending my time shooting guns.
Oh, yeah. Me too. Me too.
I like it a lot because he plays it on the Xbox, which means I get the computer. That's my favorite part about Destiny.
My third game's kind of hard because, I spend most of my time on one game. So over the Steam Summer Sale, I ended up actually kind of mostly going into, like, older games. I guess so more of like a backlogs of games that I haven't played, and they were cheap on sale, so I picked them up. So I'm gonna have to go with an older one with The Witcher. I'm not
the original.
No, The Witcher 3. Sorry.
Okay, I'm like, wow, you went way back.
Was that way back? Did that come out on 360 or was that Xbox One?
It eventually got ported to 360,
but it was OG Xbox, I should say, I guess.
So it was not. Xbox? No, it was not OG Xbox 360.
Oh, it was not. Okay. Yeah, so just I've always been a pretty big fan of Skyrim. My favorite open world game of all time is Fallout 3. So I generally enjoy those open world games. But The Witcher is just, oh my goodness. I know a lot of people have complained about the combat, but I think the combat's really fun still. I play with my controller still, even though it's on PC. The story is just, it's actually kind of gripped me a little bit when most story games I really could care less about. I was just kind of surprised with it because I didn't think that I would actually care about the game that much.
It's a lot like I always use a comparison. It's a lot like Game of Thrones meets Skyrim because it's just this dark, nasty world with horrible people. But there's so many like NPCs and other characters that are like flawed, but you want to help them and redeem them from their horrible things that they've done. And everybody hates you. They're like horrible to you because you're like this quote unquote abomination character. But I can't believe how much they packed into this game. You know, I was talking about Breath of the Wild as being like my favorite open world game. Witcher's like completely different type of open world game. Like, while Breath of the Wild is more kind of like, you know, you do your own thing. You don't really talk to a lot of people. Your story is your own. Versus this one's like everyone has a story. and the side quests are not like quick things that you can get done in like 30 minutes. This is like 2-hour, 3-hour like side quests, like not even main story at all. It's just absolutely incredible what they accomplished with that game.
And it feels like all these characters that you talk to just have so much depth to them.
Yeah, the voice acting and the animations are just incredible in that game. And I cannot wait for that studio to do that Cyberpunk game.
Oh,
because
yeah.
if they can adapt The Witcher into a Cyberpunk theme, holy crap, that's going to be amazing.
Nice.
There's a lot of games too. This wasn't the question, but that have come out this year that I'm excited to try that have been out for a while that I haven't. And I know, like, not to go off on a side tangent, but what did you think of Ukulele, Colin?
I am waiting for it to come out on Switch because
I'm
going to buy it. I was going to buy it day one, but I've been waiting for the Switch port to come out because it just makes sense. It's just played Banjo on 64.
I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah, when you get your Switch, you should get on that too. So
okay.
Josh, did you play Ukulele at all?
I did. It was fine.
Are you a Banjo fan?
Not as big as a lot of people. It wasn't the game I wanted. Like mascot platformers. It was okay. It wasn't a bad game. It didn't scratch the itch I was looking for, which turned out to be Crash Bandicoot trilogy that came out. I was like, yes, this is the game I want. So, yeah, it's fun.
Well, Banjo was my all-time favorite game ever. So
Sure, no, a lot of people say that. Like it's.
I know, yeah.
I still want Microsoft to release Banjo 3 or have someone do it. Anyone do it, please.
Like
Give it to them. Give it to Platonics to do Banjo 3. That'd be great.
I haven't finished Banjo Tooie yet. That's
really
another
hard.
one that I've started and gotten halfway through and then
It's real hard.
abandoned. Yeah, it is. It's one of those ones, I mean, not to go off again, but it's one of those ones where you have to do so much and then constantly go back, and it's hard to remember everything you're supposed to. I don't know how those are a children's game. I'm an adult and I can't figure it out.
All right, Colin.
Well, so now we got our favorite games down. So games that are coming out, let's say from now until like January. What is your guys' most anticipated games? We'll go with you. We'll start with you, Guillaume.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to say that you screwed me over, Colin.
Oh.
My game is coming out after January.
Oh.
Well, sorry.
One of them is.
You can talk about it.
But I'm going to talk about it anyway. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited for that game. Red Dead 1 was so fun.
I forgot about that game. I love that game.
And I'm really disappointed that they're not coming out with it on PC. Because I started playing GTA a little bit on PC, and there's this is completely separate from the actual GTA game play like that you're used to is with the gangsters and stuff like that. It's called role playing, and me and my friends started doing it, and it's so fun to do. You basically you come up with the persona as a character, and you basically act it out.
So weird things happen in Grand Theft Auto.
It's very weird, but it's like
it's very entertaining to watch.
It's so fun to do, and like there are people who actually act as police in it and stuff like that. And I wish that I could get something like that in Red Dead, like to role play as a character. Like me and my friends, we would go around, and we were all these country folk, and I was Bubba Sanders from the South.
It was really fun to listen.
It was so fun to do, but I mean, Red Dead 1 was such a great game, and the story was so enthralling, and I'm just excited for another experience like that.
Yeah, Red Dead is the only Rockstar game that I actually enjoyed playing. Like, I've played most of their games, and I respect them for what they are, but Grand Theft Auto, I just cannot get into it because I hate being the bad guy. It just drives me nuts. I don't feel good about playing it. Like, Grand Theft Auto Online was fun, but you still have to be a jerk. You still have to rob things to get anything done. So Red Dead, while you can be a bad guy in Red Dead, I definitely felt like it was more of a flawed hero story. So Red Dead 2, oh boy, That's gonna be a good one.
When that comes out in February.
I think it comes out in March, and there have been rumors of it being delayed, possibly more.
Yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath for that one. So sometime next year.
And then probably my next most anticipated game would probably be Battlefront 2.
Mm.
I think the story in this game sounds really cool. Like how they're trying to like kind of give you reason to want to know more about the Empire and kind of like what drives them more. Is pretty much. Am I correct in saying that that's kind of what they've kind of said the story is about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Showing the story from the other side.
Exactly, and that's something that really interests me, and it's like something that I hadn't really thought of before they'd mentioned it. But as a Star Wars fan, that's really cool to me, and I want to know what drives that.
Yeah, there's definitely always two sides to a war, and they always focus on the good guys. So it's really cool to see the perspective of an Empire soldier after everything that they've been fighting for gets destroyed. Mm-hmm. It sounds like such an interesting premise. And the first Battlefront game was really bare bones. I didn't like it as much as I wanted to because I loved the original Xbox, PS2, Battlefront 1 and 2. Those were just one of the, in my opinion, some of the best Star Wars games ever made. So I'm really hoping this one takes the good part of the first one, which was the actual like shooting, is really, really good. It's done by DICE, so the Battlefield guys, and just elevates it and makes it a little bit more, I guess, accessible. And I just want bots. Like I want bots in every shooter because I don't like playing against people because spawning and dying immediately 50 times in one match is just not that fun for me. So at least this one has a story mode for the in between. Yeah. Josh, are you excited about Battlefront at all?
Yeah, and it has the lead character is female, which is always awesome, and she seems like a very strong character, and I appreciate that, So, yeah, it looks awesome. It's gonna be fun. Star Wars. I mean, get ready for episode 8, right? Yeah. 7, 8. Yeah.
8.
8. Whatever number they're on now.
Too many.
Is that it?
Linnea, how about you?
Yum has one more.
Oh. I kind of forgot about this one.
South Park game.
I'm actually really excited for this South Park game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much of fans you guys are of South Park. I've always been a pretty big fan, but just the name is hilarious, and just I played the first game, and the first game was so funny. I was in stitches the entire time. It's like better than all the shows I've seen. Like it was just so good, and there's some scenes that I've seen online of like the difficulty of the game. Like when you raise the difficulty of the game, this is terrible.
Okay.
It
looks very inappropriate but very funny.
Yes.
But
I'm excited for that game. And it's actually written by the guys who made South Park, which I think is just good for the story.
I just hope Al Gore's in this game again.
The game that I have been the most excited for, I just realized actually came out a month ago. I thought it came out in December, is Hello Neighbor. Have you heard of that one?
It's not out yet.
It's not?
No.
It just said...
It's in beta.
Okay, then it was delayed. Okay, well, it's coming out in December then, I think. It's called Hello Neighbor, and it looks amazing. I don't know if either of you have heard of it. It's a PC game. I think only PC. And basically, it's a kind of, not a horror game, because the graphics are really fun. They're like kind of cartoony graphics, but the whole point is you live across the street from this guy, and I don't know if you're supposed to kill him or steal something from his house, but you're supposed to break into his house. And he starts off just being able to kind of hear noises or see things, and then every time you break into his house and you get caught, he gets smarter and smarter. So you have to figure out a different way, a different method of getting in. And then when you get inside, there's like light bulbs that are burnt out. I've seen people playing the betas on Twitch, but light bulbs are burnt out, doors are locked, things are blocking, and you have to just kind of figure out how to get through his house. Again, I don't know what the end goal is, but like I said, every time he will catch you, and he chases you outside, and every time he finds you, he gets smarter and smarter and smarter. And then obviously if you'd have to start the game all over again. But I love that idea and that aspect. And because I really like scary games, but I don't always like the graphics of scary games. So I really like the idea of having kind of a suspense game that has kind of those cartoony, animated drawing type graphics.
That sounds horribly frightening.
It sounds like the the video game equivalent of that Don't Breathe movie.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
Oh yeah, that one. That looks good.
I don't think I've seen anything about that.
We won't get into movies, but I'll show you later.
YouTube that.
Yeah.
But that one looks good, and then of course, I've owned every Sims game that's ever come out in the history of Sims. So I'm excited for Sims to come out on Xbox.
Isn't it like Sims Cats and Dogs or something? Isn't that
I just heard that it was coming out. My sister told me. I know Sims Pets has always been, as soon as Sims 2, Sims 3, Sims 4 came out, the Pets expansion pack is the first one everybody wants. So it's going to be a big deal.
I can unfortunately weigh in on Colin's thoughts on that. I believe Sims 3 Pets came out for Xbox 360 with a Kinect.
Yeah,
sweet.
This is the Sims 4 coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the Sims 4.
Come on. Get with the program here.
Well, it does say Sims Cats and Dogs is coming out on PC, so maybe that's, I don't know.
That could be just an expansion pack. I know they have had quite a few expansion packs for Sims 4, but I will always be a Sims PC fan, but I had the Sims game, I want to say for the 360, and it's so different. It's really, obviously the concept is the same. You have a person, but just the gameplay is different. The music's different. The graphics are different. So I'm excited for that one.
Nice.
I'm surprised it's taken this long to release them.
Yeah, me too. Because they didn't have the Sims 3. They never released that on console. I don't think it was.
I don't think they did either.
I think it was the Sims 2 and then the Sims 3.
Then there was Bustin' Out on OG Xbox. That was fun. I remember playing that in middle school.
That's the one that has like little chibi guys, right? They're not like normal looking Sims characters.
I never.
No, they're normal Sims characters.
Oh man, there's a Sims game where they had like chibi characters, and it was the weirdest thing.
Talking about the one that was in your iPhone.
No, it was on original Xbox, but I don't know what it's called.
What is a chibi character?
It's like a shrunk down, chubby version of a character.
Big eyes, slightly anime looking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that one. But always excited for The Sims.
Of course. The world is finally ready.
To live another person's life.
Colin?
Yes.
You know what I'm excited for.
Oh, yeah. Knack 2. Oh, wait.
No. That's Game of the Year. We're not doing Game of the Year discussion, Colin.
Oh, shoot. You're right. Wait, what month is it?
Cuphead, man.
Oh, yeah. Cuphead.
It's like a week and a half, bro.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Finally.
I'm really excited about that one, too.
Cuphead. Come to me, Cuphead. Let's see. Also, South Park, of course. Mario Odyssey, of course.
Yeah, you got to get those Mario nips.
Yep. Assassin's Creed Origins.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. I'll tell you
what
why.
makes you excited for this game?
Egypt. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. With me and Assassin's Creed games, it's all about the setting. I refused to play any Assassin's Creed game up until Assassin's Creed 3. That was my first one. Yeah. Because it was in America. And I was like, yes, I want to know about this time frame and how they, do this in the game world. I was excited. And then I played Black Flag and I was like, it's okay. Didn't really check out any of the others too much. But then, Origins, going back to Egypt. Big fan of Egypt. And, everything. The culture of ancient Egypt and all that fun stuff. So I'm greatly looking forward to sliding down pyramids and such. So
I'm trying to remember it's been a long time since I've played Assassin's Creed games, but they don't have any supernatural elements, right?
No, because you're like in the Animus, so like everything's kind of technically digital, essentially.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
So I was thinking, man, it'd be so cool if you fought mummies and stuff.
yeah. I mean, there's like one quest in Assassin's Creed 3 where you have to go find Bigfoot.
Yeah, but Bigfoot's real, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it turned out to be just like this big burly guy that had a lot of facial hair and body hair who
Oh,
He's an imposter, big.
he didn't like people, so he kind of stayed to himself out in the woods. But yeah, so they like play with the concept of like supernatural things, but they don't like lean into it. But I mean, so they might have like a mummy quest, but it's going to be, they basically go the Scooby-Doo route with like the supernatural, where it seems supernatural until you rip the mask off the ghost and it's just some dude trying to scare kids at an amusement park. So
man, now I just want Assassin's Creed v Scooby-Doo. That's amazing.
yeah. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Yeah, that one looks really fun.
Yeah. That'll be good.
I feel like they haven't had a really good, like the Lego Marvel games. I feel like are quote unquote open world Lego games. Like they have that hub world where you can explore around.
Right.
And Lego Avengers was such a bummer because it just was the most cobbled together game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And this one just seems like a true sequel to that Lego Marvel that came out when like this. I think the Xbox and PS4 like first came out. Like it was that first year.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I'm down for that.
I think it was a launch title.
If they got the split steering right, that's what would sell me on that game.
Yeah, I don't know. I ended up switching it to just the fixed horizontal camera, and it was okay. But if you leave it and it's like constantly going sideways, upwards, downwards, it's like, I feel sick just watching the screen.
Yep. What about you, Colin?
I mean, Battlefront 2, I'm excited for the same reasons Guillaume is. I'm excited for Mario Odyssey, just because it looks so. I mean, it's a Mario game, but it just looks so different at the same time than a lot of other Mario games in the past. So I'm really excited about that one, and I'm really excited about Wolfenstein, too.
Yeah, punch some Nazis.
The Machine Games, they made Wolfenstein 1, and it's also a lot of ex-Riddick and the Darkness developers, and I think that those developers just make really visceral first-person shooting, and Wolfenstein 1 was such a surprise playing it. I a lot of reviewers said the first level suck and it gets really good after that, and I was like, I don't know if I believe that. And it's 100% the truth, because that first couple levels of Wolfenstein is basically just like the most generic World War II shooter you could possibly play. And then once you get past those first two levels is when the game like opens up to have this like crazy hub world, and there's all these upgrades that you can get with your character, and just the core gameplay of shooting and taking cover and doing crazy like shooting executions is just phenomenal. So I'm super excited for Wolfenstein 2.
Yeah. You gonna hold out for the Switch, or?
No, I'll probably pick that up on PC.
Yeah.
They're releasing it on the Switch?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you didn't hear that?
Wow. I did not.
Doom and Wolfenstein.
I heard about
Switch.
Doom.
Yep.
Yeah. No, this Wolfenstein's coming out on Switch early next year. So.
Yep.
Like we need to get a Switch.
I mean, if Mario Odyssey isn't enough to convince you to get a Switch,
No, Mario
yeah.
is all that I
Okay.
need. Mario's all I ever need.
Anything else, Colin?
Yeah, that's it for this year. There's some other stuff next year, but I'll
Sure.
stick with that for now.
Awesome.
When is Far Cry 5 coming out? Is that
February.
February, okay.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Yep.
So good.
Can't wait to go back to Montana. Anyway. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Yeah, this was really fun.
It's been really fun.
It was. It's always nice getting different opinions and perspectives on games, even if one of them happens to be Dota 2.
Just give Guillaume his own episode to rant about Dota.
Yeah, Colin, you go ahead and do that one. I'll take the night off that one, Colin.
I'll just have him like talk to himself for 2 hours, and I'll come back and be like, "Oh,
You're still here?
Just intro and outro and call it good. Are you guys on Twitter or anything like that?
I am at _smart sister.
I do not use Twitter, but if anyone wants to play a game with me or anything, I'm on Steam and on Xbox Live at Dr. Dunkfunk.
Yeah, I'm the smart sister on Steam also.
Nice. How does your sister feel about that name?
I get a lot. It's actually an inside joke. I don't know. It's an inside joke, and it's funny because I'm actually not.
Okay.
But you do have a sister.
Yeah, I have two sisters. But people will be like, so where's the dumb sister? Like, tell us about the dumb sister.
Right.
But yeah, they don't care. They think it's funny. They were there when the inside joke came, so.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you guys again for joining us. Colin, where can people find you, my friends?
They can find me on Twitter at pdx_geek.
What if they want to play Destiny 2 with you?
Oh, they can add me on all the various platforms. Cabooses Hero is my gamer tag.
There we go. You can find me on Twitter at The Noise with a Y. You can follow the show on Twitter at Joys of Games. If you ever have an email for us, you could email us joysofgames@gmail.com. And this has been a fantastic episode. Next week we will be talking about Nintendo. Most likely probably going to be talking about SteamWorld Dig 2. Just came out today. I've already dove in and am enjoying it quite a bit. But we'll also be bracing for the release of the SNES Classic, which is coming out next week as well. So should be a fun episode. But thank you to our guests. Thank you to everyone out there listening. Remember, go play some games and enjoy them. As long as it's not Dota. Good night.